50% better team tackle success rate, but discipline was an issue, with 9 penalties conceded to 5 by Salford. Individually, Niall Evans, 2 tries, 5 tackle loss, 190 metres and 3 clean breaks, was a star for the Red Devils. Dan Sarginson showed how you should play against your former team with 186 metres and 1 fucking brilliant tackle. Ken Seo with 100, well, probably others, but 1 in particular. Ken Seo with 151 metres and Chris Wellham with 5 tackle loss and 147 metres. For the Warriors, it wasn't all doom and gloom. There were some good performers. Liam Marshall, 8 tackle loss, 162 metres, 2 clean breaks. Sam Powell had a try and arguably a try assist, but that's what we'll talk about differently. 52 tackles, 12 of which were marker tackles. Our main man, Liam Farrell, with 40 tackles, 130 metres, doing what he does every week. Ethan Havard continues to impress and probably continues to increase his stock for a move to the NRL, but hey-ho. 42 tackles, 6 tackle loss and 121 metres for the young teenage prop who is having a stormer the last few weeks.
Yeah, so we, again, quite a lot of fan views on this one. So Josh says, at a time when there's not much in the way of sporting events, you couldn't have asked for a more entertaining game to display the world what rugby league is all about.
Carsten said, first off, looked like Salford with the chances and Wigan with the tries, but what a comeback from the Reds. Wigan can't win without Luluai, as it seems. Well, did you watch the game last week where Smith came on and was amazing? Sarge with the hit of the round, and Mo Salah with a great break again.
Owen Hughes says, Salford. Maybe we won't be going down this season after all. Watson's showing why he's a genius. Salford stepping up against a better side. Evalds showing why he gets an England call-up. Really enjoyed that. We showed the belief that got us to the grand final last year. Even though we won't get there this year, I didn't mind Brown tonight. And well played Hastings. What a gent.
Yeah, I'm sure Salford fans all enjoyed his performance. Malcolm Matias said, Kit Karma strikes again. A bit lemony, mellow yellow and a touch of deepest deep purple. Oh so nice and a little bit butch, but oh so Mr. Soft in the second half. Oh, and ginger nuts like Liam Farrell clash with yellow. Well, I'm fucked then because I've got that shirt. So it's Abigail's party. I don't get that reference. Do you get that reference?
I know what Abigail's party is, but I'm not quite sure.
What is it?
It was a drama in the 70s with Alison Steadman, very famous for her talking. It's like a house party. She's talking about playing. Is it Demis Roussos records? It's a well-known TV drama. It shows Malcolm Matias's age. Let's put it that way.
Good to see that Salford's not dumb nor dead. Maybe Wigan don't win the pre-virus season. Hashtag shutdown. Hashtag fridges full with beers. Hashtag so is the garage. Hashtag we know it's you, Alan.
Matt Speakman 20 says horrible inevitability to that second half. I thought we could stroll out for the second half and win it. Lazy marker and air-gap defending and trying to cruise the second half. This could be the kick up the backside needed for Wigan, but it shows how tight the league is this year, bar the bottom two.
POB 1976 said, a tale of two halves, with Wigan taking the first and Salford crucially the second. A great comeback from Salford to take the 2 points.
Cav says, well, that's a turn up for the Bucks. Wigan seemed to underestimate Salford, took them too lightly. For 55 minutes, it looked like it wouldn't matter. I expected Wigan to close this with better fitness at this point, but some great play from Salford swung it for them. Tui had a great game. Who is that? Brown, of course. Brown looked great, and Sargentson looked cracking. What a tackle. Wigan will put it behind them and come back stronger.
I love how Cav's so positive about all the teams. I think it's great. It's so refreshing. Mark Butler said, in difficult times, you need heroes to step up and give morale to the nation, and Wigan did that in losing an unlosable game. Salford's tries conceded were the acts of a demoralised team with nothing to give, and if you put a penny on them, then you're a maniac. I don't get it. If you put a penny on them, then you're a maniac. But somehow Salford worked their way back in ways I dare not analyse, as I was a bit pissed by then.
Sounds like it. And finally, Jen K says, in hindsight, the yellow kit was a clue to the banana skin ahead. Disappointing result considering the start we made. Worried early on that the breaks they kept making would be our undoing. Thought without Hardacre we were not quite right. Although he should be at full-back, obviously. And they shouldn't play Burgess when he's injured. On to the next one, whenever that is.
Yeah, I think Burgess actually seemed to re-aggravate his hip injury early on, and then bringing him back on for another spell at the end instead of Bullock just made no sense to me. Jen, I think I might have seen your husband at the end of the game, because when I was walking out the ground, like, quite swiftly, I had a sort of slight recognition half head nod with another bloke, but I couldn't be sure how I knew him. But I was like, I've spoken to him before, but I don't know his name. I can't remember his name. I can't place why I know him. And then when I saw Jen's name in the fan reviews when I was putting the show together, I thought maybe it was Jen's husband. So if it was, then I hope you appreciated my slight head nod of recognition. I apologise it wasn't a full hello. Yeah. What did you make of this one then? I'm assuming you caught it on TV like a lot of people seem to have done.
Yes, I certainly did. It's interesting when you
actually... beautiful, isn't it?
What's that?
The yellow kit's fantastic. I
really like it. I'm a bit of an aficionado for kits, and I really purple and yellow. They're on opposite sides of the colour wheel, and they really work as combinations.
I've been trying to tell Emma this, but she's not having it. But it's going to happen in our spare bedroom as a sort of test to prove that I know colours better than she does. Okay.
Well, I have a massive amount of respect for your wife. I think she's incredibly talented, but she's wrong about that colour. Okay, purple and yellow does work. It's interesting when you look at the stats, because, as you said, Salford came out on top on many of them, but my notes kind of say that they looked at sea for much of this game, for me. But I would just say that Wigan just couldn't press home their advantage they had, and for me, the Bevan French no try was a bit of a turning point. What do you think?
Yeah, the other turning point was not going for a drop goal or taking a tackle when Sam Powell put that shitty kick through that just resulted in obviously the scores being level at the other end, and was that thing that Wigan have been doing but getting away. We've been giving away those sorts of tries every single week this season, but getting away with it by being the better team throughout the piece. But ultimately, I think Salford were the fitter team in this game, and that disappoints me as a Wigan fan, because it's very few games I come away from thinking we weren't the fittest team in that. But I do think some of our big lads are carrying knocks. Burgess, Bullock, and Clark obviously doesn't need to carry a knock to not be fit enough to do long minutes. What the fuck he was doing on the pitch at the end of the game, I don't know. So that therein lied a bit of a problem too, I think, and that's kind of where the inability to press home the clear advantage in terms of we were the better side going into this game. We were the side that controlled the first 50 minutes of this game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
50 minutes, they had to pull some big lads off because we'd absolutely gassed them in that first 10 minutes, running relentlessly at Paulie and Ikahifo, because they'd hurt us a little bit when they got on the pitch. We were like, that's not going to happen again. But we kind of almost relaxed when it was Mossop and McCarthy and Yates back on, thinking they're just tacklers. And actually, they weren't just tacklers. They tired out our middles so that the backs were then able to break us at will.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I saw some, unusually for y'all, I did see some defensive lapses.
Yeah.
I think
it's the first team we've played all year that don't throw speculative offloads, and it's the first team that we've played all year that's actually been able to break us down. They came in with a game plan rather than thinking if we offload it all the time, we'll find a gap, because you don't do that against our defence. But if you play a sort of proper structured game, you can find holes against any defence if you're that good. Yeah. And Ian Watson is that clever.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to say the last try, it was just instinct, wasn't it, to kind of to notice the numbers on the short side and kind of he saw that it was Hankinson, was it, on that side?
I think it would have been Manfredi sort of was left on an island, because Bevan French, for all the excitement, all the skill factor, all of those great things that we love about Bevan French, didn't realise that he needed to go short side rather than try and pull defenders around. His play there was to go and be a defender short side, because there was no one else going to get there. And if he had done that, Salford would not have scored. They were too wide to get a drop goal. they would not have scored, and Brown wouldn't have got in, I don't believe. So I think that was a poor misread from a player still learning the full nature of the fullback position, unfortunately. But great spot by Kevin Brown.
Yeah,
senior player, like you say,
it's a bit of both.
Out what was there, the opportunity.
But yeah, even so, I mean, you've got to look back on that, and I know he's your favourite son and everything, but Farrell had a couple of chances and couldn't do it, and
well, there was that great break in the first half where he had absolutely no support.
Yeah, which is unusual in of itself.
And that, to me, is why I feel like there was an element of Hastings being off the pace. He threw several shit passes, and he was not around the ball in support as much as I would hope and expect to see him be. And I think maybe this was just one blip. He had to get this emotional experience out of the way. He's a very emotional kid, isn't he, is Jackson? He's a very talented and brilliant kid, and was fucking brilliant last week when Wigan won a game. So, allow him maybe a bit of woe when Wigan lose a game, and let him dust himself off and come back. But yeah, there was moments like that where Wigan kind of fell away, didn't quite get with it, whereas Salford started to grow in confidence, grow into the game, and like I say, Hastings I criticised some of what he did, but overall talk about what a fantastic player he is. Dan Sargentson, people know that I've rated Dan Sargentson way higher than the average Wigan fan for the last 5 years, and this game showed exactly why you should rate him higher. He took every filthy carry, every heavy knock, everything. He was so quick. He put so much effort into this game because it meant something to him to put that effort in. And it wasn't like he was cast aside by Wigan as such. It was kind of a mutual kind of moving on, I think, really. But every credit to him, he was fantastic. And if I was picking out a highlight moment from this game, it would be his tackle. Yeah.
You can't really argue with that. And there's nothing like an old boy against his team, is there? So. But yeah, no.
Not when they play like that, no. I also think Niall Evalds obviously continues to show. I mean, last week I said how great he's been. Every week, even when Salford have been losing, Niall Evalds has produced a highlight reel moment. And he's done it again in this week, and they've won too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great win for Salford. Great to pick that second wing up, but Wigan, they'll look back at it, and be frustrated by it. But there's no great. Ultimately, there's no great concerns about longer term for them. I think they'll be fine.
If Hankinson had put that kick over before half time, then I think things would have played out differently. Like you say, if the French try had just bounced a little bit more kindly for him, bounced a little bit more kindly for him. If Wigan have had the slight composure to kick a drop goal at that instant when 15 minutes left to play, when Salford had kind of got a bit of momentum, you could have stopped it right there by making it back to 2 scores, I think. But instead, you kicked the stupid fucking kick that no one was going to get on from in a Wigan shirt, and the only person who got it was the player who ran the full length of the field, like we keep seeing people do. And Salford deserved it. They deserved it the way they switched things around in that last 25 minutes. And they did have opportunities in the first half, but Wigan defended them really well, and Salford were forced into errors. But in the second half, Wigan didn't quite have that, and Salford were forced into tries.
Yeah, they had to bounce the ball, but yeah, it's good win for them.
Any other highlight moments outside of the Dan Sargentson hit on French?
No, not other than you've already talked about with the Evalds scampering away, but no.
Nothing really matches that hit, does it? Any other star players or notable performers you want to call out other than the ones I've called out so far? Farrell, Havard for Wigan, Evalds and Sargentson in particular for and Mossop as well, I would say, for Salford, from my point of view. Anything different from you?
No, not from me.
Fair enough then. Let's move on. We got to see a third televised game this weekend, and it was because nothing else was. This guy had no other option. They came to us. Castleford played St Helens on Sunday afternoon. It finished 28-14 in favour of Cass. It was 14-4 at half time. 7,268 were there. Liam Moore was the referee. Do you want to take us through the stats, Al?
Yep, so discipline with and without the ball were decisive in this game. 5 to 13 in handling errors and 7 to 9 in penalties, both in favour of the home side Cass. Cass also made more metres, more breaks, and had a 3.2%